Hello, everyone. So, just fresh from my monthly Soften Circle, which is the free or low cost support circle that I'm running, and just wanted to share again with the wider world one of our processes that we did. Obviously, we do a lot of personal sharing and group deep dives within the circle. There's a lot of healing that comes through our group discussions, and obviously, I'm not going to be sharing anything personal here on the YouTube channel, but there was a beautiful channeled guided process and sharing and a lot of information that came through just by me sitting back and opening to channel. And the guidance really is to share it here and allow you guys to tune in through the YouTube platform as well. And with the grace and the compassion and the generosity of my soften group who do show up in person, and they're the gratitude that I'm holding for them for helping me hold space for these transmissions to come through, and the grace with which they allow me to share them with the wider world. So just a big thank you to everyone who's showing up in person, and I really hope you enjoy the process, and I hope to see you in a softened circle soon. But if you can't make it, then I'll endeavor to share as many of them as I can here. Obviously, sometimes in the group, it's meant to just stay within the group, but when I get guidance like this, it is sometimes meant for the wider world. So just a couple of announcements about some events that I am running. So coming up in May, I'm running a 3-day Precious Wisdom Alchemy intensive level 1 and 2. So basic qualification, basic healer qualification in my Precious Wisdom Alchemy healing system in the beautiful Rougemont in the Swiss Alps. So all the details can be found on my website, alexandrawenman.com/events. Be beautiful to see you there. I only have a few places left on that. It's going to be quite an intimate kind of small group workshop, but really, really beautiful and powerful healing tool, especially with the energies that we are going into at present. And then online on Zoom, live on Zoom, and it will be recorded as well. I'm running a 7-week level 1 and 2 intensive of Archangel Alchemy, the Archangel Alchemy healing system, which is the healing system that goes with the book. So those of you who've been reading the book and learning all about Archangel Alchemy, if you would like to learn this system in person with me, I'd love to share it with you. I think I had a lot of interest from people, but ordinarily I was teaching it in the daytime and over the course of a whole day UK time, or a couple of whole days UK time. But to accommodate those in America and Australia and further afield, the guidance has been to run the workshop as a 7 module, and it is going to be starting on the 6th of June. 7 weeks, it's a Friday. And I think in UK time, if I check my diary, it's all online. I think we're going to be starting at about 5:30 p.m. And we will be running for about 2 or 3 hours of an evening. And as I said, these both Precious Wisdom and Archangel Alchemy healing systems are certified. You will get a certification, and that certification is with the Complementary Medical Association. So you will be insured to be healers, basic healing practitioners at the end of those courses. Some more goodies coming up. Another Egypt retreat happening with my beautiful friend Lorraine Flaherty this November. If you're interested in joining us, then please get in touch via email, info@alexandrawenman.com, and we can organize to have a chat and talk about all the ins and outs, and how to book and join us on that beautiful temple tour. It's going to be a 2-week, at least 2 weeks temple tour. We're going to be visiting all the beautiful temples and the pyramids and sacred sites along the Nile. And often we can't promise anything, but often we do get access to places that people aren't usually able to get access to. And we have an amazing team on the ground in Egypt. And with all the amazing revelations going on about Egypt and the pyramids and everything at the moment, it's just such an extraordinary time to be there and to go there. So really hope that you can join us there. And Yeah, and hopefully see you soon in potentially in a softened circle. As I said, I run these groups for those who can't afford to join other circles or workshops or groups. There's a lot of support that comes through the group. We do deep dive group shares, and everyone is held in unconditional love and non-judgment. So it is safe to be seen and to show up and to help you heal through anything that you're going through and support you. So I hope that you enjoy the process, and I will see you soon. Just before we get started, I was coming back in from the kitchen after freshening up my tea. Um, my roomie day by day poetry book just sprang off the shelf at me, and I thought, well, let's flick it open and see what we need to know, like if there's a message in here. And poem 129 on page 66 opens up, and it says, before raising a new building, the old one must first be torn down. Before stitching a new garment, the tailor must first cut the precious cloth. And I thought, isn't that just pretty perfect for everything we're talking about? It's like loss and drama and chaos and things feeling like they're being cut away, or maybe it's just a new pattern being cut. Maybe it's just a new building, the ground being prepared for the new building and the new earth. And then I loved this one as well. 131. Don't imagine that your eyes only see because of their mechanism. How could optics possibly account for the vivid images in your dreams? So there's our magic. So beautiful. Okay, so just a couple of little beautiful things to ponder on. And so, however we're comfortable for this, it's sort of, whenever we're open to channel, I never know who's coming through, what the message will be, what the energies will be, or where we're going to go. I always just sit back and observe, open the space, and ask. But as with all channeling, the words that come through are just one part of it, and it's the energy and the frequency that comes through where the real healing is. So sometimes I'll just be asked to describe what I'm seeing or feeling. Sometimes there'll be direct channeling and a message from a beautiful team of light beings. Sometimes there's, and always there's invitation for you guys to observe what's happening in you, and you may not even be noticing the words I'm saying at all. You might be taken off on your own journey, and you might be receiving your own direct messages and be on your own mission, and that is totally fine as well. So don't worry too much about following exactly what I'm saying. And because we're recording, you can always come back and re-listen, and you might get different information, images, guidance, again at a different time. Like it always ends up being a different feast of the senses no matter where we go. So just to begin, I'm going to take my cardigan off because I'm already roasting. This happened last night when the guides came in. I was absolutely roasting hot, and normally I go cool when it's kind of galactic energy, but my face last night went beetroot red and boiling, and it wasn't a hot flush. It was really powerful and fire energy, real fire energy last night. So let's just come into our hearts, just closing our eyes. And just rest within your own internal beloved. Just come home to yourself. Just hold yourself in total love and compassion. And let's just hold each other as a group in total love and compassion, just really feeling that the gratitude of being witnessed in unconditional love and non-judgment, being allowed to be who we are. Any feelings or thoughts or emotions that come up, Just know that they're coming up to be loved, to be accepted, to be healed and transmuted. Any sensations that come up, any little kind of whisperings, it's all welcome. And as we come into unconditional love and non-judgment, we open to a neutral space within, where anything that needs to be seen and received or let go of and surrendered can be given airtime, can be given space. Whatever needs to surface within us can be given space without us going into any kind of self-judgment or judgment of what we're seeing, just observing, releasing, and indeed receiving what we need to receive. And just breathing into the heart, just see, sense, or imagine that tiny spark of your soul's light glimmering like a candle flame. And the more you put your focus and your attention on it and your love on it, bringing that love within, drawing that love within, letting go of any worries or cares or anything that's been playing on your mind, anything that's going on in the greater world, any of the drama, just bringing your energy within, internal, creating yourself a safe place within your own heart. And if you feel you need to imagine that you're shrinking yourself down really super small so that you can fit inside that spark of light in your heart, you can. And that way, withdrawing from some of the turbulence of the world around us, just really coming into center, dropping into love. And as Mary showed us the card, that beautiful droplet card, you might want to see, sense, or imagine that you have a little water droplet of pure. But again, just, you might either see it as a little candle flame in the heart, or you might see it as a little water droplet, or you might see it as both. I always see our soul's light as like a living light, a living plasma, like flaming, liquid moving, living light, and just let it become bigger. It's 2020 on the clock as we open up. Let the consciousness, the droplet or the flame, become larger and spread out through your energy field so that you're releasing and letting go and cleansing away or washing away or blazing away, dissolving away, transmuting anything that doesn't need to be in your space at this time. And just allowing it to expand right out around your energy field as though you're now sitting in that flame or in that droplet. And just let the light come alive in your cells, your molecules, your atoms. Let it activate your innate gifts and talents. Let unconditional love bathe you. Let yourself come into total and utter self-acceptance, self-love, and just come into acceptance of wherever you're at the moment and wherever you need to be and whatever needs to surface or have you made aware of. And then I just want you to see, sense, or imagine almost like a flame, a flickering white flame in front of your eyes. Another flame, a separate flame. But let that flame grow really tall and large in front of you as though you're gazing into this white flame, white flame, pristine white flame. And see how tall this flame is. And you might notice that it's very tall and very thin. And as you put your focus on it, it's starting to move and morph into a being of light, a being of such light, such power, such purity. It's hard to get a fix on who or what this being is. This beautiful blazing figure of light. And it represents a part of yourself, a part of your higher self. And I'm just being told that this is the part of yourself that is able to see beyond all illusion, that knows the inner truth. And I'm being given the message there is only one truth, and that truth is love. And the truth is that there is nothing outside of love. So as you welcome back this truth, there's a message that all else, however real and however embodied and however painful on this planet, on some level really is only an illusion. Granted, a very physically embedded illusion at times, but still an illusion. And if we sit back and we acknowledge that we are divine, we are the divine made flesh, then we reclaim our power. And we realize that, on some level, we may have a choice as co-creators of our world, and we can choose to recreate that world by putting our focus and attention on the truth we want to see, the truth we know, that is love. And however that love wants to manifest, we can trust that love always has our highest interests at heart. So we're just going to allow this beautiful column of white flame in front of us, this aspect of ourselves. And it's always a choice. But if you wish to really re-embody this part of you that sees beyond all illusion, really knows how to trust in that faith of love, then you can invite this flame to merge with you and to come into your energy field. And it's going to begin to burn through any old falsehoods, old illusions, old programs, beliefs, perceptions that are no longer serving you for your highest good. And just feel it moving and dancing. And you may find that it wants to dance up into the mind, up into the brain, up into the head. And you might start to feel sensations around the crown of the head, the back of the head, around the temples. I'm also simultaneously feeling that it might be moving through some of your other centers. It might be different for you guys. I feel very strong energy in the base chakra here. Almost like old timelines or outdated storylines just dissolving away out of our foundations and out of our minds. So anywhere we have been maybe sitting in some painful old timelines. This flame is very connected, I'm being told, to purity Elohim, so a very, very high frequency consciousness, angelic consciousness, which is part of us on some level. So there's an energy of purification. The word I kept being given in the recent eclipse was like a purging by light, and not a violent purging or more an energetic releasing or surrendering. But I do know that a few people over the eclipse might have had a few physical symptoms that felt like a release of sorts. So if you had any coughs or colds or tummy trouble, usually that is indicative of a deep spiritual cleanse. But the words I'm being given here is it's like a purging and releasing of past pain or the expectation of pain replaying itself, old timelines and fears that that old past pain might replay itself or be projected from the past into our future. And many of us have come here as these willing souls, like that's the word I'm being given, the willing souls who have come to act as a bit of a filter, to start to filter out some of this old past pain. And the message I'm being given by purity Elohim is that, those of you who have, chosen on a soul level to come and filter some of this out may have been feeling an injustice or an unfairness in the level of emotional pain that you've been subjected to. And that is because some of it just doesn't feel like it's yours. It doesn't feel like it's all possibly yours on a personal level. And this is true. And where we have groups of people, groups of beings that come together, it's usually those who are more willing to look that are given the ability to see, and those that are more willing to heal that are given the ability to heal. And those who are, have the gift of the ability to look within and face their fears and face their shadows and look at their pain and transmute and alchemize and try to find a way through, rather than suppressing and stuffing it down and sealing it off and denying it and putting up walls, which many humans are still doing. Because where there are those who aren't ready to look on some level or aren't willing, the energy has to go somewhere. And so those that have been willing to look, or who are able, kind of act as channels, conduits, and portals for the purging to let itself out of. And I'm just being shown like an old steamer ship with like big steam stacks on it. And it's like, well, the energy has to go somewhere. So perhaps we're like those chimney stacks and the energy is kind of passing through us. But because we have the ability to look through the eyes of unconditional love and to filter through the eyes of unconditional love, it's through us as a collective on this planet, almost like a council of light embodied. It's through us that that filtering is able to happen, because we're uncompromising in our love and our compassion. And we look through the eyes of love. We understand pain, but we also know how to transmute it. And sometimes that transmuting of pain can just feel like an endless task. It can feel like, oh gosh, you just get through one level and then there's the next and the next and the next. But what I am being shown is that the responsibility for this is shifting, and it is going back into the collective. And those that have been unwilling or unable to look and see or feel or purge or transmute, they're going to have to start looking soon. And it's not to say that we will ever stop loving or stop doing the work, but I do get this sense that there has been a shift in soul contract and a shift in the responsibility. And I saw this a couple of years ago, actually. I had a group of angels come through, and I was very confused about the message that they gave, because they said the angelics are going to start withdrawing their support. And I was like, what? Withdrawing their support? I can't remember the exact wording. It was something like they're going to start withdrawing their support. But then it became really apparent that that's us. It's the angelic souls that are doing the job for the many, that we have now come into our own realization of we can't carry it for everyone anymore. We came here to live heaven on earth. We came here to anchor in the new earth. We can't, and it's a two-way doorway. So it feels like the sense I'm being given is that now, in order to bring in the higher frequencies, we have to hand that purging back to a degree to everybody who it belongs to, give back the responsibility to everyone around us. So those who've been sitting like a tightly closed fist with their doors shut to spirit or to their intuition or to their emotions are going to find that those doors are going to start to open, even like little chink by chink, but it's coming open. They're going to have to start looking, because the energies on this planet just won't allow otherwise. And as it started with all of us, usually it does start with some sort of event of, some confronting event, maybe a loss or a painful experience, or the ego having a bit of a slap around the face that kind of shocks you or somehow brings you into an awakened state. Sometimes it's a visitation. Sometimes somebody might be firmly religious until a galactic being turns up on their doorstep. So however it happens for each individual is absolutely 100% perfect for their level of consciousness, their soul's guidance, what they're meant to be going through, who they're meant to be, part of their purpose. And what I'm seeing as an image is the withdrawal of the old kind of dense structures. So we're seeing whole industries kind of tailing off. The job and the career market is really being hit at the moment in lots of different sectors. And I know people who've really struggled to find a job or a role that their skill set fits. There's a lot of people having to retrain. And guess what? So many of them are retraining as coaches and healers because there's a need for it, there's a want for it. There is an absolute market for more healers because, you know, the ones that are here, we can't possibly carry it all because the numbers of people awakening are happening at a vast rate. And the evidence is being shown on that 3D level of shifts in markets, shifts in industries, and openings for more well-being. The guides are also showing me, you know, the AI thing, and you know, this is also on the really positive level. The technologies coming in are going to be able to support people to actually perhaps let go of careers that they haven't been enjoying and move more into creative pursuits and doing things that set their hearts alight. There'll be more time to create, more time to think, more time to invent, and whole new industries are going to be rising in the place of these old ones, these old outdated ones. There's also space here for the miraculous and the miraculous solutions. And I love that it's the first of the month and it's April Fool's Day. Go the joy with that droplet card, because we really are in a major beginning here. And there's also this space. The reason why there's a lot going on that we can't see is because there is needed to be space for that miraculous, the miraculous to come in. And what we could not ever conceive of is now being conceived. And I'm just being given this message that a lot of light workers here have actually been into future timelines and had lifetimes in future timelines. And of course, this is all just happening on a parallel level because it's all the eternal now. But from where we sit as humans, we're on a linear timeline. And we have a past, we have a present, and we have a future. At the moment, that still is true, although it is shifting. And we may be feeling moments of out of timeness, moments of, like, I know that the last week I've been waking up kind of going, what day is it? What have I got on? What time is it? Have I got a client? And then I'm going, oh, it's Saturday. And then, you know, like really catching myself, like really having this out of time, no idea where I am, what time it is, what I've got in my calendar, like real memory loss kind of stuff. But it's part of the recalibration of bringing us back into that kind of eternal now. It's just now. And I find that it's a little bit like what Anna was saying, you know, we just have to take it step by step, day by day, increment by increment. Because if we let ourselves go into too much one way or too much the other, there's the fear that we could actually be, you know, imagining the worst possible scenario instead of what we want, imagining what we don't want. So we really want to come back into a kind of a state of trusting curiosity and really trusting in that highest and best outcome, that we're never going to miss out on what we're meant to have. What we're meant to have will never be taken from us. And anything that kind of moves out of our lives, you know, has maybe run its course. And that's really hard as humans, because sometimes we lose relationships, or people walk out of our lives, or people pass, and careers we loved can leave, like our whole purpose can collapse out from under us. I know that definitely happened to me a number of years ago when I just thought, well, how can I start again? Everything I was building is gone. And yet you can start again and you can flourish, and you might end up with not what you expected, but better or more than you expected. So, what if everything that we are thinking we're losing is actually making space so that we can gain even more, and so that we can flourish even more as individuals, but as a humanity? And if we can absolutely sit in trust for that, then that is what will unfold, because we are co-creating. The divine is not outside of us. And I had a friend once say, the cavalry isn't coming. We're it. We are it. What if it falls to us? What if it's like, and I remember this moment the other night where I was doing my usual kind of sit back out of my human drama and just observe. My God, the human is kicking off. What is wrong with the human? And all these thoughts going around in the head. And I was like, this is not me. Like, let's just sit back. And then I was like, right, I'm calling on my higher self. And then I really caught myself, because I was like, oh my God, in this moment, I am my higher self. I am higher selfing. And I'm the higher self observing the lower self. So who am I calling on? I'm it. And I really had this moment of kind of feeling really embodied in my higher self. Like, the integration is real. It is happening. It is here. And so this flaming part of us that we are integrating here, the part of us that knows all, that sees all, that understands that one truth, that lives beyond illusion, that understands that it has a bird's eye view into the future timelines. It has a bird's eye view into the past timelines. It can see into your cellular memory, your DNA, the microcosmic levels. It can see into the macrocosmic levels. It knows the divine plan. And all it is asking you to do in this moment as your human self is trust. Just trust. That is your secret weapon. The secret weapon that knows that trust in the highest and best outcome is what steers the ship. And I always get this ship, steers the ship in the right direction, even if we don't know what that looks like. Embodied trust, embodied faith. And these are, the names of the high Elohim angels, the archangels. They embody hope, they embody faith. As my friend Callista writes about, the feminine aspects of the archangels are the Archaea. And they are, beautiful. The counterpart of Michael, I think, is faith. And that is, our courage comes from our faith. So it's interesting that as you embody this part, you might even be aware that you are being drip fed droplets of your own truth, and just feel it falling on you like a cosmic rain, a cosmic knowing. And what I'm also being shown is that all the glamours that have been used against humanity, and they have deliberate glamours. There's a lot of magic that has been used and is still being used today. And these glamours are coming through the news and the media and Hollywood, through our TV screens, through the music, through the radio, through the Wi-Fi. That is wearing off. It's beginning to wear off. It's beginning to lose its effect. And the hidden protection, the people that have been misusing their power and the entities that have been working through them have been using, it's losing its effectiveness. And the rule is that they have to tell you what they're doing somehow. Somehow you have to agree to it, even if it's kind of in a roundabout way. So if they show you what they're doing before they do it, then somehow there's like a hidden agreement. It's like you've agreed to it. And this is why years later, we might watch a film, and then you might go back and rewatch that film years later, and key phrases that were in that film start to play out in the news. And it's really interesting. I watched one, was it last year, some movie with Justin Timberlake in it. I think it was called Out of Time. And the amount of times in that movie they used the words, the cost of living crisis, was profound. I was like, wow. And that movie was made in 2011. So know that these glamours are starting to come off, and the agendas are having to be more elaborate, more obvious in order for their magic to work. And the more we sit in our hearts and we hold that flame of truth, and we trust and we ask to be shown the highest truth, however confronting that is, we help to basically to purge those glamours from our system. The more we connect to our higher self, we sit back in love, we ask to see clearly, to know clearly, because the more we polish up that lens, in the law of quantum physics, we are co-creating that reality all the time. So the more we can sit out of fear and sit in love and project into our highest future what we want to see, what we want to feel, the love that we meet with here in these groups that is unconditionally loving, where we allow people to show up and be seen. In that way, also for those who have been misusing their power, we must hold forgiveness. Forgive them, they know not what they do, because they too are souls and part of the oneness of divinity. They have just lost their way. And it doesn't mean we're excusing bad behavior at all. We're saying no to the behavior, but forgiving the soul, forgiving the light, and asking for them to be healed and lifted out of whatever they are in. And it's a process. And the more we kind of sit out of, there's something in this about, you know, when we think we know it all, or we think we know what's going on, and then all of a sudden it's like the blinkers are taken off and we see things from a new perspective. If we stay humble and always recognize that we have something new to learn, then we can never get stuck, and we can reserve the right to change our minds about anything that's going on the planet at the moment, because sometimes we may not know the whole picture, but the soul knows the whole picture. There's another beautiful team of beings forming around us as a group now that I just want to tune into. These, I'm being told, are loving beings from the star system Cassiopeia. And they are such the perfect group of beings to work with us in the softened circle, because they come with a softness, such a gentleness. And I'm kind of getting this very, very soft kind of, it's like a soft goldy eggshelly yellow color, and then some really beautiful soft peach kind of washes through this color. And you might just be aware of these beings just coming around you, standing behind you, and bringing in this beautiful kind of pearlescenty, eggshelly, peachy gold, like a really high frequency gold with this peachy pink just running through it. And it's like the softest energy of compassion I think I've ever felt. It's like, comes with this energy of, you know, when you're with a friend who's gone through a really hard time and you don't have any words to say and you don't know what you're meant to say. So you just sit with them and you just hold them and you just let them be how they need to be. And you just drop into the most loving silence, and just being with them is enough. Or the times when you're going through something so hard, you know, those times if you're crying so hard that you can't speak, and somebody just holds you in that without needing to mop you up or fix you or change you or tell you it's going to be okay, because they may not know if it is going to be okay, and they may know that there's no guarantees, but they just literally hold you in it. This is the frequency and the energy that these beings are coming in with for us now as a group, as a collective. So the invitation here is just to acknowledge that we are all one. And those who have lost their way or are unable to look or do the work or do the healing, or those who are consciously blocking any healing or trying to prevent awakening, even they have a part to play in this realm of duality. So for a moment, we're just being asked to suspend judgment on everyone and literally sit in neutrality and almost be that friend that doesn't have the answers, that doesn't have the words to say, but is holding the hope alive, the flame of hope and the soft compassion that is needed for this humanity to awaken, because there's so much trepidation. So many are frightened. So many agendas are playing out in the news to try to keep people in that fear. And those of us who can see that something different is afoot here, we can hold this gentle, soft compassion for the all, especially, most especially for ourselves. But in this moment, we're being invited to receive this softness from these beautiful beings from Cassiopeia. And just spend a moment tuning into them in your own way. You may receive a message or a symbol through your heart, but mostly be aware of your feelings at this time. There might be a loosening, a surrendering, a softening into, like a surrender of whatever is to come, and a trust that we're going to be held through it all. That we don't always need to have all the answers, even if people are coming to us to ask for those answers. Sometimes we just need to be like a warm hearth fire, knowing that sometimes we're just there to warm up the room with a smile. Sometimes it's not about having profound wisdom or correcting people if we think they're wrong. It's deep humility, allowing ourselves to stay humble, because it's like we're at another huge pivot point here. And I just keep being told, like, so many bombshells of truth are being dropped. And examples of that right now are far and wide. And the one that's popping into my head at the moment is the discovery of what's beneath the pyramids, and how many distortions of that, how many versions of that have played out in the news, and how many attempts to debunk and say that that it isn't true, and call the healers naive, and weird AI images showing up that are really elaborate and probably aren't exactly what's beneath the pyramids. But the fact of the matter is, something is there. Something is there, and it's something that really correlates to the visions and the dreams and the memories of the mystics on this earth. That there was high technology that goes far, far back in human history, way before the Egyptologists would have us believe there was anything there. And there are actually investigative journalists like Graham Hancock and Robert Bauval who've also kind of scientifically proven that this was the case, but they constantly are trying to debunk them. But there are truths coming to light that no matter how much the mainstream news tries to create a different story, there are so many of us that have turned our backs on that media and are turning to things like YouTube and blogs and people who are unfiltered, and also who have no agenda in sharing. And we really are powerful when we sit in conversation, even over a cup of tea, and ask the question, what's going on this planet? What do you think? Or what do you think? It is going back to the chain of whispers and storytelling and sharing verbally, this age old tradition really coming back to life and to light. And this is how truths are arising through our visions, our memories, the glamours wearing off, the love in our hearts, the curiosity, the humility, and the blossoming. And this is where the re-blossoming and the regrouping of hope is really rising to the fore. There's this sense of these beings, I kind of get this feeling that they're slightly just having a little chuckle to themselves in a loving way. Like, like you might say to a younger person, what are you worried about? There's nothing to worry about. Like, it's just a mosquito bite, or it's just a this, or it's just a grazed knee, but it's going to heal. It's going to heal. And when we give it loving attention, but don't give it power, when we let it roll off our backs like water off a duck's wing, then it can't cause us harm. It doesn't sink in. So I get this message: return to books, read stories of old that light you up from within, follow what brings you joy and bliss and peace, rather than absorbing the messaging that is trying to pull you under or send you into a spiral like a rudderless boat. You are the rudder and you choose your path. Many are returning to art and gardening and cottage industries and going for walks in nature and meeting with friends to talk over coffee. And this is a movement. And that movement is more powerful than you know. For the way of gentleness has returned to planet Earth and is leading the charge. Softening is revolutionary at this time. And I really, I even was questioning whether to continue with this group. And now I feel in that message is a complete yes, I'm going to keep going with this, because this is the energy. This is the energy that's really feels like it's going to change the world. And people say yes to their softening to themselves, letting down their walls, coming into peace. So these beings have a gift for each of us. So just feel them, handing you this gift, or it may be something like a light that's being beamed into your heart. It might be a crystal. It could be a symbol, something personal to you. And each of us are going to have our own gift freely given. So just tune in. I'm going to tune in and just see what it is here. Receive the gift. It will come as maybe a word, a message, a feeling, a symbol, even a sentence. I'm seeing all kinds of interesting things: fortune cookies, podcasting microphones. It could be a message about how you're going to get your message out into the world. It could be a message about something that you need right now. Somebody's being given a really beautiful, soft gold, peachy, pink, cozy blanket just to wrap around themselves. So anyone, just receive, receive, receive. Know that whatever you're being given is a way to help you bring your own gift of softness uh, up and out in your daily life. It could be to do with one of your gifts. So it could be a gift of comfort, a gift of words, a gift of writing. But it will be personal to you. And this gift is going to make itself known either as a symbol or a message or an opportunity somewhere in your daily waking life in the best way for you. So just receive that gift. You might want to bring it into your heart for safekeeping. And then as a beautiful, just a beautiful symbol for the group, as a piece of group evidence that we may see somewhere in our daily waking lives, I'm getting a close-up of a butterfly wing, and it looks like one of those beautiful orangey red monarch butterfly wings, but it's like I can see the powder on the wing. And you know that thing of we never want to touch a butterfly's wing because it's so soft, it's so fragile. That powder is so important for that butterfly's wing. And it's the delicate part of it. But it's like I'm zooming in on it and seeing it really up close in all of its intricate detail, seeing like the molecular structure of it. And it's almost like we're being given this ability through our softening to see things in minute detail, to see things up close, to really get into the minutiae of things, really get into the truth of things. The more we sit, observe, sit in stillness, listen, watch, wait, trust, stay neutral, come into calmness, self-nourish, self-nurture, because soon, that is the coming out of the cocoon. It's like we're just the butterflies that are going to be drying our wings sooner than we know in the new dawn of the new reality. So keep an eye out for that butterfly wing and any kind of messaging around that metamorphosis. But softness, powder softness is kind of, I feel like this is what we want to surround ourselves with as much as we can. But it's also what we want to surround our loved ones with. So if people are getting loud or vexatious or overly opinionated, instead of maybe meeting them with the same energy or the same force, maybe just walk up and give them a hug if it's someone that is close to you. That can disarm people immediately. Or just very gently look at them with the eyes of love and say, are you okay? Is everything okay? It's all going to be okay. Sometimes, we get triggered by the energy being thrown out from people, but we don't have to do that. We can take a step back, take a breath, and perhaps offer something different. Perhaps offer the opposite. Offer how we would want to be treated rather than triggered. Yes. How do you want to be treated rather than how do you want to be triggered? So then just feel this beautiful, soft, gold, peachy fire coming into your energy field. Feel these beings beaming this love from their hearts. Feel it coming into your energy field so that it becomes an internal softness. And you might feel as this light comes in, this beautiful ray comes in, just a dissolving of any old internal walls or false protections or any hardness from within, especially where you've been hard on yourself. I feel like a draining away, again, out of the brain, out of the back of the mind. There's a lot of shifting in the neural pathways of the brain, a lot of clearing around the spine, the throat chakra, back of the neck, that alta major, atlas chakra, clearing those spinal gateways, any old misconceptions, miscommunications, feelings of attack or unsafety, just clearing out. Third eye opening huge now. See it like a big eye opening into new clarity, a big diamond light shining eye. And let's ask those diamond frequencies to clarify our intuition and all of our intuitive gifts so that not only are we able to trust, that we will immediately get the evidence of that trust. That clarifying of that eye of all the visionaries is not just the eye to see, it's the eye to create what we want to see. It's the projecting eye of purity and truth, unconditional love, sovereignty. So as that eye opens, very gently, when you're ready, allow your actual eyes to open. And just set the intention that as you open your physical eyes, you're going to be able to see through all illusions as you need to get to the real heart of the matter, but softly and tenderly, and with the energy of unconditional love, and with this willingness to understand things on a different level, on a new level. I'm willing to understand the other, the collective. I'm willing to understand perhaps some things that from my previous level of consciousness I didn't understand before. And there's a lot of light coming through here from Helios, and it's like that soft sunlight of the dawn, the new dawn sunlight. So that is really being given to us like a beautiful cloak of sun rays that's just going to come in and cocoon us, and just closing down gently all our energy fields, but keeping us feeling safe to be illuminated, to keep shining. But just this beautiful shimmering solar cloak that keeps the light alive, keeps the hearth fires burning, but leaves us feeling protected, safe to shine as brightly as we need to, in the way that we need to. And just before we finish, there's a poem I'd like to read. And it's not my poem, it's by Edgar A. Guest, and it's called Don't Quit. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low but the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is strange with its twists and turns, and every one of us sometimes learns. And many failures turn about when we might have won had we stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. You can never tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight. When you're hardest hit, it's when things seem worst that you must not quit. And that is such a beautiful reminder. That thing of it's usually darkest before the dawn. And we can never know. And time is an illusion anyway. And sometimes the wound hurts the worst right before it's about to heal. And that's when our faith absolutely cannot give out. That is when we become the spiritual warrior, when we have to sit there and then we know we're going to pop through something, and we know that the gift will drop in when we least expect it. We raise that sword of truth and go, I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going into battle. I'm standing in the light of truth. And my truth is there is a divine plan, and it's all love at the end of the day. So just taking a deep breath in, again, just hold yourself in love and compassion, really be super, super kind to you. Just before we go, I just want to see if any of my little journal prompts are at all relevant for what we're looking at today. Oh yeah, okay. Well, I didn't channel this at all. The question is, if anyone wants to write this down, or you can always re-listen to the recording. what is soft courage? What does that mean for me right now? Um, how can you kind of be bold without burning out? Where are you being invited to show up more authentically, even if it appears vulnerable, even if it makes you feel really vulnerable? Um, where might you be hiding yourself still, or going back into an old version of yourself when actually the self that is here now is really trusting, whereas the old self kind of going, like, trying to lure you back in. um, Soft courage, soft power, how can you really hold that trust without it feeling harsh or painful or like a battle? So there's that one. And the other one is, what illusions am I ready to release? What illusions am I ready to release? What story, identity, or belief am I now outgrowing? What can I lovingly leave behind to move forward with more integrity in my highest truth? So, and let it be a shedding, not a judgment. Let it be I'm not going to be hard on myself about that. I'm just going to really ask to release that so I can just step into more of that light of my own truth. And even if other people don't see the world from the same perspective as me, I can hold them in unconditional love as well, because it's just different. It doesn't mean it's wrong. And if we can sit in that unconditional love, then we can really feel they have a different perspective. Sometimes those perspectives don't mesh, and sometimes those frequencies don't fit. And that's okay. We don't have to stay around when we feel like we're being pushed as a square peg into a round hole. We can move on, or choose to turn off the TV, or whatever it is, choose the frequency we want to operate at. And show up maybe more in groups like this, where we are seen and we are held and we are loved. And this is new earth community. You can also write a love letter to the new you who is emerging, to help that butterfly come out of the cocoon more. Maybe if you could put your focus on, like, where's the light within? What is this new me that's being birthed? What are her gifts? What are her talents? What are the things that are coming to the surface in a positive way that I can nurture and nourish and encourage her, like you're being her or him, like you're being like the champion of this new emerging part of yourself. So just a couple of little prompts there to help things along, and a little bit of like homework, should you wish to have a bit of homework. There's never any obligation. And yeah. So just holding you all in love. I'm just checking that we're all our fields are sealed. I'm just asking to close any doorways or portals behind us as necessary. Those Cassiopeia beings are going to stay around us. They're here for all of humanity. They're really part of the councils of light. So you can call on them whenever you wish to. And just remember your gifts and your symbol. You might want to journal that. And just know that, keep an eye out for it in your daily waking life as you need to. Sending you all lots of love. Hope you're all hanging in there post eclipse, and I shall speak to you soon. Thank you.